Hi everyone. Today we're going to be cooking my homemade spaghetti sauce, vegan. I call it whole foods plant-based. Reason I'm clarifying that, and I will clarify it many times, is because there's a difference between a vegan and someone who follows a whole food plant-based diet. Vegans generally are people who, for social reasons or whatever, do not want to eat anything that is derived from animals or wear anything that is derived from animals or consume any products, use any products that have come from animals. Someone who's whole food plant-based can be a vegan, but also a healthy vegan. Vegans are not necessarily healthy vegans. So for an example, if I'm hungry, I can go to, maybe a hamburger place, and they may offer vegan burgers, but that vegan burger comes along with fries. So their question would be, is this cooked in vegetable oil? And they may say yes. So in the mind of a vegan, if it's cooked in vegetable oil, then it is okay for them to eat. Fries are okay. If I'm having a soy milkshake with 35 grams of sugar in it, I'm still calling myself a vegan, but not necessarily a healthy vegan. And this might be a concern right now with the young people growing up, is they're very social vegans, a lot of them. They don't want to hurt animals, etc. But they're not really following a healthy plan. They just look on the package to see if it's vegan. They don't care if it's processed. They don't care if it's a processed soy dog. They don't care if it has 25 grams of sugar, as long as it's not sugar that's been used with any kind of animal product. So they'll ask, they'll want something that has raw sugar. And a lot of them don't even understand that white sugar actually uses animal products to process it. So there's a lot of confusion out there. So I'm here, and my goal for this video is to actually educate people and help them understand. If you're going to be a vegan, be a good vegan. If you're a whole food plant-based person, I'm going to help you try to understand that. Anyway, I will put out another video basically about nutrition. I do have a certification in whole food plant-based whole food nutrition, and I've taken some courses in whole food plant-based diet, and I try to follow it myself. Am I 100%? No, I go off my little track and go back to eating meats sometimes, but usually I'm unhappy that I did. All right, so today, what I'm having now is more friends and clients asking me to do videos on whole food plant-based diet so they can understand it better, give them some easy recipes to start with, and so my goal today is to do that. So today, first of all, I'm going to make a healthy version of whole food plant-based spaghetti, or what I consider a healthy version. There are some out there that follow Dr. Campbell and Dr. Esselstyn's whole food plant-based nutrition plan. It's very strict. There's absolutely no oil in the diet, absolutely no processed flour, etc. But I find that that's really difficult for a lot of people to manage. And so I'm more like, okay, let's just get started in the right direction. If you can decrease your fat intake by so much, if you can decrease your animal products by so much, and you're making advancements to better your health, that's what's important, not throwing things at people that are just so extreme that they can't handle it. So I'm doing modified things to help just have a healthier diet. So that's my goal here. Okay, so today we're making homemade pasta spaghetti. I'm using I've already boiled the pasta. I'm using organic whole wheat pasta. And the difference between this and regular pasta is whole wheat pasta has 6 grams of fiber in it, whereas you might find that white flour products may have only 2 grams. And the goal here is to increase your fiber intake up to 30 to 35 grams a day. This is what's going to keep things like your cholesterol in check and your blood sugar in check. So increase your fiber. Plus, it's also recently come out that grains such as oats, wheat, things like that, rice, actually help with reducing colon cancer. And more than beans are. Now, beans are very good in fiber, but it's now showing that the whole grain things like whole grain pasta, whole wheat pasta, oatmeal, things like that are actually more effective in decreasing colon cancer. So just keep that in mind why we don't want to really eliminate grains from or glutens from our diet unless we have a gluten intolerance or gluten we've been diagnosed with gluten problems such as celiac disease. Then of course you don't want to eat grains. But if it's something you read in a book that glutens aren't good for you, please, I'm sorry, I have to disagree, because people have been eating grains for many, many, many years. So now, so that's the pasta. I'm using whole grain pasta, and then I'm going to include some of these wonderful veggies. Now, instead of sauteing my veggies in oil, what I do is I found this wonderful pan my neighbor showed me, who's from India. It's called Hawkins pressure cooker, and it's very simple to use. It's safe, and it doesn't have a lot of buttons, and it takes just a few minutes. So let's go ahead, and what I'm going to do is use a little broth in the bottom of this pressure cooker. And I'm only putting about a 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup in there if you want it to work effectively. Now, instead of sauteing all these wonderful vegetables, which I have right here, I have bell peppers, and if you can see on here, bell peppers are high in vitamin C, vitamin K, vitamin E, vitamin A, I think I repeated that, and folic acid and potassium. Let's look at some other things. Onions. Onions are great for antioxidants. They're high in fiber, they're high in folic acid, they're high in calcium. And somebody said, well, I need milk for calcium. No, you don't. Calcium comes in all the vegetables that you have. It's high in iron, and it's high in protein. Oh my goodness, there's a protein. So we are getting our protein for our vegetables. And then I have some chopped up celery in here. So that has vitamin K and calcium. And I have some carrots here. Carrots are excellent with beta-carotene and K1 and B2. And you need the beta-carotene to actually process vitamin A. You need those two together. They kind of complement each other. Then some other things I'm going to be putting in there is garlic. And garlic is high in vitamin C, high in calcium, copper, potassium, and phosphorus, iron, and B1. Those are minerals and vitamins that we need, essential to living. Then we're going to throw some fresh basil in there. Fresh basil has vitamin A, vitamin C. It has magnesium, iron, potassium, and calcium. All these things are essential to our living. Then I'm going to use some additional spices, garlic powder, oregano, onion powder, and then we have some additional things we'll add in there. But first, let's go ahead and get these vegetables going. And all I'm going to do is take all the vegetables, very easy, put them in my little pressure cooker. Got some onions in here. I'm not sauteing them. Putting some bell peppers in there. Yum. And then we're going to throw in that garlic. And we're just gonna, the basil will wait because it wilts very fast. So I'll put that in at the end. And then I'm just going to stir that up and get all those liquids going. And everything actually has salt in it. Even though I use this vegan broth, it's 140 milligrams of salt. So I really don't need to add any more additional salt to that. While we're talking, let's talk about, while we're getting this ready, let's talk about sea salt and all these Himalaya salt and all these specialty salts. Well, what they're finding out is that people are actually becoming deficient in iodine, which is an essential mineral that we need in our body. So, now you see this, this is pretty easy to put on. We're talking about the pressure cooker. We just push down and there's a little safety hook on the side, and that keeps it closed. When it starts percolating, I say percolating, it'll steam. This little thing, you'll hear it, this little thing will pop up and go psh. And what I do for vegetables like this, I let it do that 4 times. So that's it, just 4 times, and the vegetables will be perfect for the sauce. So we're gonna stick that on the stove and turn that on to high. And when this gets to percolating 4 times, then I turn off the fire and then I release the steam. It's that simple. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and start this, get the things open for the sauce. And in the sauce I'm using fresh basil chopped up, which I'll do that in a second. I'm using garlic powder, garlic powder, oregano, onion powder, a can of tomato dice, and this is no salt added. A can of tomato sauce, no salt added. If you have high blood pressure, you need to be careful with the salt. And a can of tomato paste, and some more of the no chicken broth, vegan broth, right? I don't know why they call it no chicken. Kind of silly, isn't it? Anyway, let me put these over here and get them out of the way. And we'll go ahead and chop up that basil that I have. I'm going to get a little more because I have a little plant over here that I just keep keep basil going for me. We don't have a lot of sun in our house, so I don't grow. We have a lot of trees, no place to really grow basil. So we're just going to cut this off, pick this right up here. This plant has already been rinsed off, so I don't have to worry about that. It came from the store, but it's been rinsed off, so I don't have to worry about rinsing it every day, every time I need it. And if you have not smelled fresh basil, you do not know what you're missing, because that's just amazing. All right, so we're going to take the, let me get this so you can see. I'm just going to roll up the basil. I'll get my little knife over here. It's funny, when I was younger, I used to be able to chop like they do on, you know, the Food Channel or whatever, but I've slowed down, so, and I don't want to lose a finger, so I'm just going to do it a slow version. You just rock your knife back and forth, keep your fingers curled under so you don't cut off the tip of your finger. And you want to make even pieces, as I did with the vegetables. Everything should be even. Be careful that you make sure that your everything you cut is even, so it cooks evenly. It's not because of beauty so much as just consistency of how it cooks in the pan. So then we're going to go ahead and do this one. And you keep the front of your knife down on the board, and you just keep rocking back and forth. Keep your eye on what you're doing. I know I've seen some chefs that sit out here and talk, but you know, I'm not taking that kind of chance. So there you have your fresh basil. Now I'm going to measure out, let me go ahead and put this away. I'm going to measure out the dry herbs. And these I just kind of throw in the pan with the sauce. I use about a tablespoon, and look, I don't measure that much, you know. I use about a tablespoon of oregano because I'm making a pretty good bit of sauce here. And I'm using about a half a tablespoon of dry garlic. I do have fresh garlic, but I always like to have a little more kick to that. And then onion powder. I'm going to use about a half a tablespoon of onion powder. I do have onions, so I don't have to worry about not having enough onion powder. So we got the basil, onion powder. Also, don't forget your bay leaf. There's something essential about, whoops, there goes our pressure cooker. So that's one, right? And let's count 2. 3, you see how easy that is? And one more time. 4. Then you turn it off. Broccoli is about 4, and you just let it release its steam. This is great, you just see this. Alright, so once it's turned down, you release that, and you take it over, and I'm sorry I have to go out of the picture for a second, but you can hear me. I'm going to run some cold water over it. I don't have a cameraman, and I don't have support staff, and I don't have people grabbing stuff and cleaning up for me. So you guys got to kind of like, you know, hang in there. So now once I cool it off, then I open it up. And I'll do this on the other side. I just flip this open. Now because the circle is not a perfect circle to help with the, you know, keep it sealed, you have to turn this thing sideways and lift it out. And that's how you get it out of there. And as you can see, I'll show you. As you can see, they're nice and cooked without all the oil. Now, so we're going to start over here, and let's go ahead and put the vegetables in. I'm doing the electric skillet because I don't want to make my back to the camera. That's the main reason why I'm using it. And then we're going to just take those vegetables strained out of here and place them in. I've got this on like 325. I'm just going to place that in there. You can just smell all the wonderful vegetables coming out of that pressure cooker. My husband loves lots of veggies in his spaghetti. And here's the thing that a lot of people eat. Raw vegetables. I read so many things about that, but honestly, what I've read mostly is that vegetables that are boiled have the least amount of vitamins. Vegetables that are raw do not release all the vitamins they have, the vitamin potential. And vegetables that have been pressure cooked are the most healthy. So you can go ahead and Google that if you want, but that's what I've read. Now, I may not be an expert on this. Now, what I'm also going to do is add a little bit of nutritional yeast. Now, this is not in a nutritional yeast box, so don't get confused. Nutritional yeast is something we use in vegan cooking a lot, and it helps kind of thicken things, but it also gives it a nice kind of cheese taste to it. So I like to use it in my pasta sauces. And I just take about a tablespoon of that and put it in the sauce. But we're not ready for that. We're going to open up the cans of vegetables. Again, I don't have an assistant, so you gotta kind of follow me around here. I don't have anybody holding my camera and moving it, you know, like you do on TV. So I'm doing the best I can for you guys. So we're gonna open up these cans. Take that out. Let's put this, get something to put this in. So I can rinse it off later and put it in the recycle. All right, so then we're just gonna put a can of crushed tomatoes in there. I'm sorry, I have a friend who hates tomatoes, so I'm sorry if I made your tummy turn. And then a can of tomato sauce. And then a can of tomato paste. It's already starting to smell good. I can't get something out of here to get this tomato paste out. A can of tomato paste. Whoops. Put that in there. All right, there we go. Let's put this over here. And this. All right, now we have all the things I need in the sauce, and I'm just gonna kind of stir it up here. And it's a little on the thick side, but I'm not done yet, so hang on. We're gonna turn that around, flip it around. Now we've got all our nice seasoning here we're gonna put in there, plus our basil, fresh basil. Can you smell it? It's so much better tasting than getting jarred spaghetti sauce. And honestly, you know, my husband still buys the jarred stuff, and I don't know, he dislikes it, but he'll eat mine, but then he'll come home with, you know, a jar of, but he's doing good. He's picking out the most healthy jarred tomato sauce he can get. That's just Jerry. What am I gonna do? All right, so now this is kind of thick here still, but I'm adding one more thing. Hang on a minute, I gotta go get it. I'm back. All right, so this is, I like to put Merlot wine in my spaghetti sauce. So I get the little sample bottle, so I don't open up a bottle and have it just sit there, because I don't drink wine. I'm not against drinking wine, it's just that my stomach doesn't like wine straight up out of the bottle. So I'm just gonna pour about half of that in there. And then, I actually kind of like the electric skillet because I can put it on low and walk away and do other stuff and not really worry about it. We have a gas stove, I love it. It's a Thermador, yeah. I love it, but I don't trust it being out of the room since it's a gas stove. Now we're gonna add just a little more, because this is gonna cook for about an hour on low to get all those flavors, you know, enhance all those flavors. So now I'm gonna put a couple bay leaf in there. Can't have spaghetti sauce without a bay leaf. And there you go. And so now, it smells amazing already. I can't wait. An hour from now, it's really gonna smell good. And so what I do is, I have this made up ahead of time in the refrigerator, the pasta and the sauce. And so instead of saying this is just for one meal, I make it for mini meals so that we can just grab, because my husband are not people to sit down and eat. I'm very hyper, so sitting down to eat to me is just boring. So I graze all day long. I do, you know, every 2-3 hours I'll have a bowl of soup or a bowl of pasta or something like that, or an English muffin I've made that you know, as a snack and some fruit or whatever. I do this all day long. So sitting down to eat is not something I do. But I don't want to cook every night. So what I do is I make the sauce and I may freeze half of it and then put half of it in the refrigerator, and then he can take from the pasta bowl what he wants, put some sauce on it, throw it in the microwave for a second, and there is his dinner or lunch. So anyway, so that you can see it looks really good, and hopefully you can see that. And we're just gonna let that simmer for about an hour, and that's pretty much it. We're gonna do a little taste test. Gotta be careful, it's hot. And I know now that it is going to take time to enhance the flavors, so I don't expect it to taste amazing yet. But I've made this so many times. Yum. Oh, you can taste the garlic, you can taste the Merlot wine. I love Merlot wine or Cabernet Sauvignon in my spaghetti sauces or even my lasagna sauce. Anyway, so that's how I made your whole food plant-based spaghetti sauce. We're going to turn it down, and I'll be back later. I think later on I'm making, what did I tell that person? I have people say, can you make this? So I'm making, oh yeah, my vegan burgers. So come on back and see my vegan burgers. Glad you could stop in and say hello.